Hey friends, welcome back to more Reddit stories about entitled people, insane people, and all that kind of stuff. So be sure to subscribe for more Reddit content, and let's get into today's stories. Child spat in my face. Guess the parent's response. Scene: I was at our neighborhood pool with my kids. During adult swim, I took my 2-year-old daughter to the shallow kids pool. It's large, maybe 20 feet by 20 feet. We pick a spot to play and swim around. There's 2 boys playing on the opposite end. I hear the parents tell the kids it's time to go. One boy gets out, the other is protesting. My daughter wants me to be a human surfboard, so I go underwater. I pop back up with my back turned to the boy. I feel something wet hit the back of my head and turn to see the kid's face 6 inches from mine. He spat a mouthful of water directly into my face. Stunned, I first remind myself that hitting kids is bad. I start looking up at the parents. Dad immediately hightails it out of the kid area, and Mom just says sweet as can be. No spitting, honey. Let's pause for a sec. I genuinely try not to be judgmental about how other people parent. We have 2 little ones with family support in the area. We know what it feels like to just try to survive the day. Having said that, I had a moment here. I didn't scream or shout, but I looked at the mom and said that behavior is totally unacceptable and disgusting. She tells me, well, he's only 4, and I lost it. I never attempted to parent someone else's child, but I did kind of parent the parent. Again, never screamed or cursed, but I let her know what I thought of her mentality and the total lack of an apology. They quickly scurried off. Edit based on comments. There are a bunch of comments in the vein of, what did you expect the mom to do? I did not expect the mom to get in the pool and start screaming at her kid. At bare minimum, apologize. At least attempt to hold the kid accountable. Ask him to apologize. Do not justify the action or make excuses for your kid, as this will only turn them into excuse generators when they get older. What I would do: everything listed above. How is my kid responding? The boy was laughing about it. Had that been my child, we would not be returning to the pool until they could listen and treat people with a baseline of respect. Things that I forgot to mention in the original post. When the dad was trying to get the kid out of the pool, he said, I'm going to count to 10 and you need to come out. He counted to 10, kid's still in pool, and dad walks away with his hands up. Also really important to keep in mind that the dad literally walks out right when I start looking up. The kid was in the pool for another 5 minutes after this, before the mom had to drag him kicking and screaming out of there. That behavior alone would have stopped us from going back to the pool for a while. You want to micromanage 30 people? Sir, yes sir. My girlfriend was having issues with her micromanaging boss, and made me remember this orchestrated malicious compliance we did back around 2003 to 2004 when I was working for a consulting company. The client we were working for was a bank that had us working from the -2nd floor basement, which consisted of a warehouse full with ATM replacement parts, and another retrofitted warehouse with desks for us. You can imagine the type. Flickering neon lights, ventilation columns. Only thing resembling a window was a poster of a window the consulting company hung up on one wall. Cell phones weren't that common then. Internet was kinda on, but everything was blocked because of the bank's firewall. Working there was hard. Only distraction was having a talk around the water cooler and going upstairs to get a coffee. We were like 30 people split into 2 big teams, doing COBOL, and one smaller one doing web, .NET, and whatever else somebody asked the manager to deliver. I was part of the smaller one. The client asked us to track how long it took to finish each task. This was handled by each of the 3 team leaders, and people had a little bit of leeway on how to report hours spent. So each team member would tell the team leader whenever a task was finished and how long it took. It worked pretty well because the team leaders were chill and the guys were serious and didn't slack much. The manager, let's call him micromanager since he was all about micromanaging, but also he was short as hell, calls me and my team leader one day and says, look guys, I have a feeling we are not working hard enough. I need to be able to report the exact amount of time we spend on each task to the client. I want you to have some kind of software so people can input the time they spend on each thing. Team leader tries to explain that the current system in place works rather well, and there's no need to change the status quo, that the numbers were accurate and such. Micromanager says that it's not enough, that people are wasting time and he wants accurate tracking. I was like 22 or 23 at that time, first job, but team leader had a knack for malicious compliance. So he designed the system. It consisted of a little traffic light in the taskbar. Red meant you were assigned, yellow meant a temporary stop, green meant unassigned. In order to change from one color to the other, a pop-up appeared and you had to input the reason for the change. Then we created a web page that summarized and presented the data anonymously. It also had an export button so Micromanager could check and use it to report himself, faster than how the team leaders were doing it. At least that was Micromanager's idea. We installed this in every computer and showed how it worked to Micromanager. He was happy and told us to explain the system to the team in order to start the trial run of the idea right away. So we did. Team leader gathered every single member and told them that Micromanager wanted an exact tracking of each one. He repeated time and time again the word exact, like probably 50 times in 5 minutes. He also said that the next day would be a trial run for the software. So 30 team members understood right away and complied, in an exact way. Here's an example on some of the things I remember. I might remember some of these ones a little embellished, it's been a while, as highlights from the report with time added up after the trial day. Arrival, taking coat off, no hanger available, tried to hang it on top of other coat, both fell, 5 minutes. Cough attack, had to get a glass of water, 5 minutes. Joke, morale booster, 2 minutes. Lost track of thought, realized I was looking at the poster of a window instead of a window, 3 minutes. Gone to the toilet, this was like 400 minutes or so, 30 people 2 times in the day or so. Discussing last night's football match, 50 minutes. Air too cold, had to ask maintenance to up the temp, 4 minutes. Somebody asked temp to up the temp, now everybody is sweating, had to ask them to lower temp, 2 minutes. Inputting change of state in traffic light app, something like 2 hours in total. And the list kept going and going and going. The real data was also there, but it was practically unusable. Before leaving the office, team leader called his team, and we had a really good laugh reading the list. The next day when we arrived, Micromanager called team leader, told him something, and team leader asked me to uninstall the traffic light app from every computer. Karen called the cops on me at my house. Okay, buckle up. I have a neighbor who owns the place behind mine on a private drive. A couple months ago, she had a Halloween party and had family members driving off-road vehicles all night in circles for a haunted trail. Part of it came onto my property near my house and was keeping me awake. So I walked out in my pajama pants and kindly asked the guy driving to stay on their side of the line. He stopped. It was all good, I thought. A few weeks later, I got a package accidentally delivered to my house meant for the neighbor. It was one of those soft Amazon packages. Definitely nothing breakable, like slippers or maybe a coat. So I went to that neighbor's house and tossed it towards her door. Apparently after this, she called my work, demanded to talk to my boss, and demanded I be reprimanded. She said I confronted her cousin and yelled at him to stop riding his off-road vehicle, and I callously threw her package at her house. Clear exaggerations of what happened. My boss explained that my work has nothing to do with the dispute between neighbors. She still wanted him to talk to me about it. My boss called me into his office and told me what happened. It was so embarrassing. Plus, I work for a notable firm in the area that doesn't appreciate negative PR. I decided not to make things worse and didn't confront her. It was so frustrating seeing her smugly drive by every day. Fast forward 4 months to today. I got home from work to find packages on my deck. I brought them inside and discovered one addressed to the neighbor. Yay. I decided to go for my evening walk as planned, and figured I'd try to be the bigger man and return the package when I got back. The temptation to be petty was immense, admittedly. When I came back from my walk, I found the neighbor and her older daughter on my deck. She asked me if I had a package. I went inside, grabbed it, and handed it to her. I told her I did not appreciate what she did by calling my boss and lying about the details. Well, that went about as well as you'd think. She accused me of stealing her package and told me it's a federal offense to mess with her mail. I told her I had planned to give her the package, but she was stuck on how it was inside my house. She asked me if I planned on throwing it like I did the last one. I told her if anything was broken, I'd gladly pay for it. Then she said it. She asked if I wanted her to call my boss again. My heart sank and I told her to do whatever she wanted. She started to waddle away and I started going back into my house. Then I heard her yelling at me again. She turned around and started screaming about how I took her mail. I turned away from my door and told her to leave and that she was trespassing. She wouldn't leave. I told her at least 10 times to just go. She kept yelling about calling my boss and telling me she had cameras. Well, so do I. I pointed at them and she finally left. And then the cops showed up. She is the main reason I put up cameras because of other stunts she's pulled, and thank God I got them. I showed the fuzz the footage and they laughed. I guess she reported that I stole her package and threatened her. I showed the cops the video of the UPS guy dropping off the package, me bringing the package inside without looking at it. Now she's been officially trespassed and can't come onto my property anymore. But wait, there's more. She called my boss and told him the same lies she told the cops. I sent him the video and he said he understands. Still a garbage situation to deal with. Also found out this woman had a kid with a married man expecting to ensnare him into a relationship. He decided he'd rather stay with his wife. A few years later, she doubled down, tried again, and had another kid with the same guy. He still stayed with the wife, so now she lives off a dead-end job and child support. It's not my fault my dog charges everyone and anything that comes near my property, and I shouldn't have to supervise him. About a block away from my house lives a lady and her little yappy aggressive dog. She leaves him unsupervised on the front lawn, with no fence, with a leash that reaches exactly to the sidewalk. This dog has charged other dogs, people, strollers, you name it. Well, today I was taking my dog for a walk and passed by the house that has this dog. I wasn't thinking about avoiding the house, since I have good control over my own dog and can pull him away when the other dog gets close. Of course, this neighbor's dog comes charging at us until he's right at the property line, right at the end of his leash, so I pull my dog away and keep walking. I glance back about half a block down the street, and this dog's owner lady is glaring at me as though I've done something wrong. I take out my earbuds and shout at her that she really should be supervising her dog rather than leaving him out there alone, or at the very least put him on a shorter leash or install a fence around her yard. She fires back, insisting that the entire encounter is my fault, and that I should stop walking my dog on that section of the street if I don't want to be charged by her little yappy guy. I told her that she's lucky no dog has mauled her dog yet, and that she has no right to tell other dog owners that they can't walk down the sidewalk in front of her house. She counters that if anyone else's dog mauls hers, it's absolutely their fault because their dog would be on her property. Lady, at some point it shouldn't matter whose fault it is. As a dog owner, you should take every precaution to keep your dog from harm. Leaving a little 20-pound dog outside on its own with the leash that extends to the sidewalk is a recipe for getting your dog injured or killed. It felt like she almost wanted someone else's dog to maul her dog, just so she could sue them for being on her property or something. Alright guys, that's going to be all for today. Thank you for watching, I do appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe for more Reddit content, and I'll see you next time.